Hey guys, what's up? Today we are going to continue the second part of the PvP guide. This time we're going to talk about the things in PvP that might go unnoticed. First, let's look at agility. Right now you're probably like, why do we need to know about agility? Well, because it's important. Speed is life in PvP. Speed allows you to get to objectives faster, get into position faster, and allows you to get to vehicles much faster. And being able to do this can heavily influence how the psyche of the game goes. Getting that quick, brutal start can honestly suck the life out of the other team before the match has even started. Speed also gives you an edge in the motion tracker, also known as the minimap. If you're fast enough, you can essentially beat the motion tracker, and this is especially true for cloaked blade dancers, as they have a motion tracker suppression ability in the vanish perk. Now, as for armor, although defense rating is ignored in Crucible, it's very much acknowledged in Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris. Titans are typically the high armor class, but any class that has a focus in armor will typically have more 1v1 wins. That's assuming your gun skill is equal or better to your opponent's, and their armor level is less than yours. As for recovery, it does two things for restoring your health. It reduces the stun time before your health regens and speeds up the rate of recovery. And by stun time, I mean whenever your health bar is in the red and then it goes up to that notch and then it sits there for a second, that's the stun time. So what that really means is that a high recovery value has more significant effect on your downtime between or during fights. Now let's talk about movement. Movement is crucial in PvP. How well you move around can determine how hard you are to hit and how well you can get around the map. Learning how to move around the map can improve your ability to monitor common routes, avoid dangerous spots, and make solid use of cover and sightlines. Some things to be careful about using are glide and lift, as they can leave you wide open to attack. So just remember that they can be cancelled by tapping the jump button again. The Hunter's double jump is really good because you can adjust how high your jump is and or make good use of it as a combat avoidance maneuver. I used double jump for quite a while, and I used it as more of a tactical ability than anything else, and it was pretty effective, but not nearly as effective as Blink. Blink, which is exclusive to Voidwalkers and Blade Dancers, is just ridiculous and in a good way. I'm a Blade Dancer, and with Blink, it's just so powerful. It's crazy good. It's really hard to get used to at first because it can be very disorientating, but once you learn how to use it, you'll be a beast, no question. There is a 10-second cooldown for Blink, so make sure you use it wisely, and it's a bit harder to traverse levels, especially if you've gotten used to the double jump, as you can't get as high as you would with the double jump. That's something that I personally had to get used to. It does make it kind of harder to get to other levels. You can't just stand there and, and blink or teleport to the next level. You gotta kind of have momentum, so that's something to take into consideration when using it. There's not a lot to talk about as far as crouching and sliding go, but crouching will conceal your motion tracker signature by slowing the pulse that makes you appear on the other player's HUD. The downside to crouching is that it puts your head right in that common center mass area, so average players will be able to get headshots much easier. As for sliding, it's incredibly useful for sudden bursts of speed and for breaking your silhouette at a distance. I see a lot of hunters will use sliding to come in closer to someone if they're using a shotgun. Like if you have a hunter and you like shotguns, I don't personally use shotguns, but I do know some that do. They'll use slide burst to get closer to the enemy to make their shotgun, to put their shotgun in a more effective range. It's also great for getting through open areas where snipers might be watching. Most snipers tend to keep their scope at chest to head level, so if you come sliding through there, they're not going to expect it, and it could ultimately save your life. Grenades, when used effectively, can be a great tool in PvP. You can use them to force your opponent away from a position, block a hallway, block an objective point, cover an escape, or force your target to move out of cover. A trick that I like to do is I will throw a grenade down one lane and then run to the other lane to surprise them. It actually works really well on Shores of Time at the B objective. If you're coming from A and you throw a nade at B and then run through the middle to hit B from the front, you'll most often, almost always, I say 80% of the time, catch whoever's there looking in the direction on which the nade came from. And now for supers. Using your super correctly in PvP will most certainly win you the game. In objective-based games, your super should almost always have the objective in mind, whether it's defending or taking it. Using a super to do either will almost always ensure that that objective stays with your team. If you have a Defender Titan taking B while he's domed, and you have a Blade Dancer Hunter anticipating a large enemy presence, you can essentially wipe out the entire team before they even realize what just happened. So knowing your teammates is always a plus. And lastly, we will look at weapon usage. I kind of briefly talked about it on the last video, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more here. Every weapon is suited for a specific role in PvP, and while most are obvious, such as sniper rifles and shotguns, others might not be. Improperly using a weapon could easily cost you points and your team a victory. Auto rifles are best suited at close to medium range. Pulse rifles are best at medium range. If you're really good, you can get close range kills too, but you're likely going to lose out to ARs more often than not, depending on your gun skill versus their gun skill. Scout rifles are best suited at medium to long range. They are very dangerous right where medium and long range meet, like right in that little gray area. That's probably their sweet spot. Hand cannons, while being the hardest to use, deal crazy damage, much better than the auto rifles and the pulse rifles, but they are very high risk, high reward. If you miss a shot, it most likely will cost you that fight. They are best at close range, but skilled players can get good medium range use out of them. And well, that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys learned something, and hopefully both of the PvP guide videos help improve your skills. If so, let me know how it helped you in the comments below. And until next time, guys, peace.